Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a message that was sent to us by one of our brother. The message reads like this. Hello, you can call me Apostle J, and I am a powerful man of God. Yes, some people do consider me as a powerful man of God here in Africa. I do own, mind you, when I say I own, I mean that these churches are mine. I register a business and then I open a church, for I see church as it is, as a business. So I have churches here in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, as well as Europe. Where my people are, that is where I'll also open up a church. So this is my own confession of how I infected one of my worship leaders whom I slept with the demon of bestiality. And the reason as to why I did it, it was because she wanted to expose me. I know that it is quite a dark confession, but I just wanted to confess. And there are a lot of people that love to hear me preach, especially on social media. And whenever I lay my hands on people, when someone will start to fall and shake, it is not because of the power of God. No, when I was still young, I was told that I was supposed to be a healer, a herbalist. It runs in the family. But as I was growing older, I saw that becoming a herbalist, it was going to limit me, for the person that I wanted to be with, she was a Christian woman. So I told myself that it was far much better to follow her own religion, even though I was following my own African religion. But she tried to change me. There was a time when I threw away everything that I had been taught by my own father, who used to be a herbalist, and I started to worship with her with all of my heart. I think that when the camel broke its back was the time when things got so bad in my life. I started to question God, and I would call out to God, and I will say, you removed me from the darkness of being a herbalist, but now that I am following you, you are throwing me back into the darkness. Why can't you just respond to me in time so that I can be able to feed my family? But God did not respond to me. And then that was when I returned back to the village. I spoke with one of my uncle, the last one in the family. My father had since passed away. All that he did was that he took me into the forbidden forest, where we went into that forest with a live chicken. He then tied a red cloth around my waist, as we called upon the gods of our people to come and to possess my body, to make me their oracle, and to make me like an oracle of God, not of the gods. And that is how I was initiated, and then I became a priest. I returned back to Lagos. When I came back to Lagos, I started associating myself with other healers, even though I would go to church, and still I would go to different clubs as an occultist, until I met someone who gave me power. For the person told me that in each and everything that you have to do, know that true power, it comes with prayer, but mixed with blood, from sacrificing animals, even human beings. It depends with how much you want to receive in the spiritual realm. For he said that there is a great divide that is there between the earth and the heavens. For that great divide to be temporarily opened up, it needs the blood. Once the blood is dropped on the divide, then it opens up. When you hear them saying, open up the floodgates of heaven, that is what they are talking about. It is that great divide. It cannot just be opened up unless you shed blood, unless you sacrifice. Even the Lord himself, he required blood sacrifices. Look at the Old Testament, even the New Testament. Is it not based on a blood sacrifice? Everything, it culminates to the blood sacrifice that happened at Calvary. And that is the truth of the world. We cannot deny it. Once something dies, there is something that happens in the spiritual realm. Therefore, if you want to receive which is in the spiritual realm, you need to be able to open it up so that it can come to earth. And when I was taught all of these things, it was so confusing to me as someone who really just wanted to pray. How could I associate the Holy Spirit and sacrificing animals? And I then said, let me do it, for I wanted miracles. I wanted people to say that I was called by God. The time when I went on a private jet with a man of God to China, he went there with us, and when we were staying at this other hotel, I saw the man of God with 2 Japanese prostitutes. And when I confronted him, for we thought that he was holy, and why was he in his room with 2 Japanese prostitutes? That was when he told me the same story of using sacrifices, even using a woman, because he said a woman's body is an altar that you can use to communicate with those that are in the spiritual realm. And even when we went to South Africa, he also had some prostitutes. I was taken to this other island where the final ritual was done, and I was told that I had to open up my own church. So I stopped being a pastor at the place where I was, and then that caused me to divorce my wife, for she wanted me to remain in that congregation, and I was unable to because of some of the people that were praying. And each and every time that they would pray, it would confuse me when I would be giving out the word of the Lord. When I started my own church, it grew big until when I started employing people in church, usually your praise and worship team. There was this other woman whom I'll just call Sister R. She came, she was a devoted woman. I lusted after her. That is why I had one of my guy to employ her as part of the praise and worship team. She was at our Lagos headquarters. Whenever she sang, I felt as if the heavens will open up, and I would feel myself and other demons as we will be trembling. People, they would just cry for no reason at all. Even if I felt something, I knew that it was not God. She was powerful, but at the same time, she believed in righteousness, in holiness, and she was so attractive. She believed that the men of God, they were true to their calling. That belief was a weakness. Like others, she was always observing. Whenever I would preach, she would correct me later on in the day. After the service, she will approach me and she will say that, man of God, you said this, but it is against the doctrine. And she kept a little booklet that had the doctrine of our church. And other people, they would not even notice whenever I would twist the word of the Lord, even if I wanted miracles to happen in church. She saw that I was making a lot of money. One night, that was when we spoke, when I told her that I wanted to go with her for a dinner date. And then we went for a dinner date. But later on in the evening, when I was taking her back to her place, I was informed that I was supposed to perform a ritual whilst she was in my car. So we went to my place, and I said there was something that I wanted to grab. And when I entered into the living room, I had to quickly perform a ritual. Just when I knelt down whilst I was holding my idol, that was when she came into the room and she saw me, and I could not hide that idol in time. She said, man of God, what is that which you are holding? And I lied. I tried to twist the word of the Lord, but it was already too late. And then I took her back to the place. When I took her back to her place, I was always scared that one day she was going to expose me. I then summoned her to my office. She refused, and she kept on refusing. I then sent her 50,000 naira. I sent her 100,000 naira. By the time that she came to my office, I did give her 500,000 naira. And she said that, okay, she was going to accept the money. Then we started dating. How I managed to date this woman, I don't even know. I told her that if she will ever expose me, the church will collapse and she'll be without a job. That is how I ended up sleeping with her. I took her to my apartment, and whilst she was sleeping in my bed, I reached beneath the sheets. I took her underwear, a red laced G-string, and then I went with it to my altar room and then I started to offer some sacrifices. After I had slaughtered a chicken, that was when the high priest appeared in my altar room. And then the high priest told me that the only way that we can curse him for her to never expose me, if we could make her to sleep with animals. I could not understand. The priest then took that G-string from me and then took out his manhood from underneath his robe. Then he started making love in the air as if he was making love to Sister R, who was sleeping in my bedroom, but he had wrapped the G-string around his manhood. His body was moving as if he was on top of a woman. And then he said, it is done. After he had ejaculated on the G-string, he said, you do not need to wash it. Just try to dry it up tomorrow. Just make sure that she wears it first thing in the morning. The next morning, when she woke up, I told her that I wanted us to make early morning love, morning glory, but I wanted to do it whilst she was wearing that G-string. She wore it and she said it is fine, and then we started sleeping together. After we had slept together, she prepared and she left without her underwear being washed. So later on, she told me that there is something that is wrong with her, but she could not tell me the truth. I went to her house and then I kept a hidden camera in her bedroom. And then each and every time when I would go there, I would take it. And I saw that she had made love to her dog. And I have that video, and we are keeping this video, and the cult is the one who has that videotape. I don't even have it on my phone, for the cult keeps everything that we have so that we can use it against our enemies or the members of the cult whenever they want to go on the other side. If they want to repent, then the cult will take out the videos and use it against them to humiliate and to embarrass them. So we do have this video. She thinks that what she is doing is normal, sleeping with dogs, but she does not know that it is a curse, a spiritual curse that was brought upon her by the high priest. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us try to talk about it in the comment section. The spirit of bestiality, sleeping with dogs.